Egypt Old Kingdom is a strategy game released by Claris Victoria in May 2018. It is a sequel of the previous title, Egypt Pre-Civilization, that had to be rebranded to Pre-Dynastic Egypt due to copyright debacle from 2K with the, actual Civilization game. The title features a lot of improvement over the previous one that are well welcomed. I would also like to say thank you to Claris Victoria for providing me a copy of the title free of charge for reviews. As the previous title lands at the start of what we perceive as ancient Egypt around the 35th century BCE, you will have to lead your people on a grand reunification of the land and the construction of the great monuments that are still a landmark of Egypt to this day. The game essence is straightforward as you build up your city or empire on a turn-to-turn basis. You use your citizens on diverse tiles where you are able to assign them to different tasks. You can cut down high-rise papyruses or hunt flocks of animals for a quick bonus and clear the land to build more advanced structures. An interesting feature I found in the title is the animals occupying the land around you can be befriended and domesticated, giving you a permanent bonus if you take the time to do so. The buildings you have access to will depend on your technological level, but are a baseline of farms, workshop, and barracks early on, expanding into temples and cemeteries later. The structures are invaluable as they keep growing with your technological know-how throughout the game, but needs to be kept balanced so you keep enough resources in stock to fend off any negative events. The resources you have access to are quite simple. The food comes from animal and farms and is essential to keep your population alive and to enlarge it. You have hammers from workshop, which represents any goods that are critical to sell buildings and monuments. Then culture come in as research points for the tech 3. Then we have soldiers that are trained from the barrack but decay at a constant rate due to retirement. Then we have the cult points, which are used to honor the gods and are great polyvalent tools to keep players out of a tight spot in a hurry. Later in the game you gain access to authority, which grants a massive bonus to production of other goods and allows better control of the army that we will develop later on. The gameplay has a railroadish aspect of challenge being imposed onto the player. As you progress, you will have events unfold onto you that will require a dedication of certain resources and goods. Early on, you will have simple objectives like establishing relationships with nearby tribes to annex them. Then later we have much harder challenges like investing massive amounts into erecting massive monuments to the glory of the pharaoh. Then engage in a destructive civil war. And to put a cherry on the sundae, we will have to do both at the end. Truly wondrous times showing how humanity never really changed in their struggles. The comeback aspect has been somewhat improved over the previous title. Notably, this time we are able to select a stance between aggressive and defensive, but the fighting is not the main attraction in this title. The core strategy will only be to assign the proper stance depending on the random events unfolding during the battle. For example, you might want to put more stress on the enemy if you kill their commander or outflank them. But you might want a defensive stance if your troops are outnumbered and being pushed back. Now the monument building is extremely interesting as each tomb or pyramid we build allows us to customize them early on. The player can build magnificent massive pyramid plated in pink granite if time and resources allow, or tackle smaller projects if not. Either way, the fulfillment of objectives is there, but you get lesser returns on your project. Religion played an important role in ancient Egypt, and it isn't much different here. We have access to a different pantheon god with an exponentially increasing cost that will offer a wide range of bonus. From increasing food production to weakening enemy, we really have a variety of choice to pick from. The game gives the player the ability to set a difficulty level, giving different malus of bonus. Taking the harder path will lead to a higher end score, but whereas in the previous game I had a somewhat easy time playing at the hardest difficulty, in this title it is ruthless. Bad events unfold onto each other, giving opportunity to all your enemy to strike at you. The easiest difficulty on the other end chains positive events and to my perception also pacify most enemy tribes, giving the player an easier time to flourish and perform on the ancient world stage. One aspect I dislike a bit in this title is how exponential growth naturally happens in the game that makes the early part seems less critical, as you'll be able to amass large armies and resources even if you have a bad start. The graphics are splendid in this title. We have a nice 3D engine with beautiful art to look at. The music is also very beautiful and soothing, and it is available as an OST DLC. I'm not too sure about that approach, to be honest. I feel the music is a core part of the game, and I have some doubts about the use of such DLC, and I honestly don't believe people will actually listen to it as a standalone, but that might just be me. I must say that the title being the sequel, I was afraid of the gameplay that it will be too similar to the previous one. But the new ways to develop your land, the challenge that you're imposed, and the new engine in the game dispels any doubt. Egypt Old Kingdom is a great strategy game for what it is. I ended up sinking a lot of time into it, and I can easily see spending much more time later on when I end up revisiting the title, just like I have done for the previous one. Of course, don't jump into this title expecting to have an experience similar to Europa Universalis or Civilization 6, as the game is much more limited in its scale, and a single game can easily be resolved in a sitting or two. Hopefully you've enjoyed this quick review, and if you did, make sure to subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.